You remind me of one section of the book I'm writing, and that's when I lay out the different criteria, like that I think at least, what defines what makes a teacher a good teacher, and that's one, sound knowledge, so which PhDs will automatically have. But like I said, that's one part of it. The other part of it is two, it's the ability to think in different perspectives. And what I mean by that, to be even more specific, is you need to think cross cultures. You need to think cross generations. And those are two very, very incredibly difficult things and important things. Like cross generation means it could span from 5 years, like 4 or 5 years, to even 10 years, 20 years. Because the longer you stay, the longer span of time you think cross generationally, right? And then cross culture. Cross culture is also a huge thing because, like, especially for the modern college, the modern professor, he's getting students from all around the world. It's not just one culture, and I mean, like, everyone knows what you are is hugely an influence of what you've grown up around, your environment, right?
Of course.
So those are two things, and another thing is in a bit articulate speech. So once you have sound knowledge, once you have an ability to think cross generationally, cross perspectives, then you have to communicate that. So you have to articulate speech. That is incredibly important because if you have the first two and not this, it's useless.
And it's funny I mentioned that because having a PhD doesn't automatically make you have articulate speech the way you're talking.
Not at all.
Well, not at all. As a matter of fact,
they don't test that at all. That's not.
Yeah, exactly. It's not part of it.
No.
So
it's part of an acting career. That's probably what articulate speech is. More like,
yeah.
They're like rhetoric classes,
or
like the one that we took, rhetorical arts. That's literally what it is. Articulate speech.
Yeah, exactly. But it just goes deeper into assuming that a person can teach because they have a PhD is morbidly wrong.
And the last thing I forgot to mention is patience. You need to have patience. Without patience, the first three just crumble because the second you start, because I mean, people pick up on cues. Like, that's a very inbuilt human skill, picking up on social cues for most people. And the second a teacher becomes impatient, you can tell it. You can tell from the tone of their voice,
100%.
from their facial expressions. As soon as that happens, it's hard to define the reaction of students, but in a broad sense, it's a detriment to learning. Learning does not happen. It becomes a very imbalanced social environment.
From my personal experience, once a professor loses their patience with you, and not in an explicit way, but you can tell that they're getting frustrated.
It's all implicit. Yeah.
Oh, you lose. First of all, you lose all confidence in what you thought you just learned, because the professor is basically implicitly telling you that you're not good enough, and you're making him lose his shit.
Yeah, it's your fault. You're wasting.
Yeah, exactly. You are wasting his valuable PhD time.
PhD time.
And second of all, what did I say? Yeah, it invalidates everything that you've learned, and it discourages you from learning the topic.
Yeah.
Because if you feel like you're getting,
especially if you didn't want to be learning to begin with,
or if you're just mildly curious about it, and then you have a guy older than you that you consider a figure of authority shitting on you for not knowing something that he's not teaching well, you're gonna hate the subject. And we see that happening not just in college, in high school, everywhere, middle school.